It is March 23rd, 2024, 4:43 p.m. Wow, it's already 4:43. Um, what is up? I finished my did I make a video before? I don't think so. I finished my exam on Wednesday, because today is Saturday, and it's like a little spring break right now since my third quad ended, and I'm on my last quad of my bachelor's, which is kind of crazy. I try to take easier courses for my last quad, or my last two quads basically. Honestly, last quad was pretty easygoing. I expected this upcoming quad to be even more easygoing. I didn't expect exams, but turns out I took I'm taking life support, and that has two exams, practical and written. Well, I was expecting like something practical, but not written. So that's kind of disappointing. And then there's like a lot of lectures and classes and whatnot. I thought it was gonna be a very casual course. I mean, I know like life support should be important, so I understand like it shouldn't be taken too casually, but I thought it's not like academically intense. But I don't know, maybe it's not. And then the other one is understanding contemporary art. I don't know. It's no genetics, so I thought, it would be nice. Maybe it is. We'll have to see. Anyways, I'm supposed to be kind of working on my thesis. I basically have no progress on my thesis, and it's due in like a month. Absolute disappointment, but I'll work on that later, I guess. The main thing I want to talk about today wasn't anything about, my academic part life. The main thing I want to talk about was so recently, or for a while, but like recent, I'm into like internet rabbit holes and morbid, I have this morbid curiosity looking at creepy videos and YouTube channels and all that, like videos that look into it. And something that came into my head while watching a lot of these is schizophrenia and manic episodes. And I want to talk about that a bit, like mental health, more because I'm not extensively knowledgeable on like mental disorders or health. I don't know, I kind of want to talk about it because it seems it's an interesting topic. Because I know I commented like I'm schizo or something before, but I don't think I am. But the reason I say that is because some of the things I say here seem, or this whole like journaling, the way I do things, I feel like from an objective view, there is an element of possibly me looking like I'm schizophrenic. Although I really hope I'm not. But that's why I kind of joke about it. I kind of, yeah. But also the point is that I'm so obsessed with the idea of subjectivity, which and the concept of no real reality, or at least we can't perceive it, because our subjectivity will always shape how we perceive reality and how we exist in reality. So there's an element of, I don't know if it's fiction, but there's an element of untruth, if that makes sense. And I think that's to be true, ironically, or paradoxically, if you think of that concept to be true, and then me saying that, because that in of itself is my projection of my subjectivity, but then therefore that would kind of admit that's true. Like, it's a weird, I mean, there are ways to unwind that paradox, probably, but my point is that I don't believe in absolute reality, because we can never obtain it. Our reality is always distorted. But then I see a lot of these videos covering these schizophrenic people, or people who have these manic episodes, or schizophrenic people. And then there seems to be a big pattern on how they become conspiracy theorists and what was it, gang stalked, I think. A lot of them have this like perception of being gang stalked, or like the government or the world is out to get them. That seems to be a common theme in schizophrenic people. And that is an example of distortion in reality. But then I'm thinking, like, well, everyone has distorted reality, right? But the fact that you can mentally diagnose someone in terms of how distorted their reality is, and sorry, my words are not coming out. You can diagnose someone, and then there's like actual health consequences or manifestations, clinical, biological manifestations that show that distortion in reality is harmful, not just a philosophical level, as I put it, even though it's like still a biological, biological result of biology, because it's our brain, it's our nervous system, it's our eyes, senses that distort reality. But schizophrenia is like its own manifestation that distorts reality, if that makes sense. My point being that it's a distortion of reality that seems to stray further away from reality, meaning there's a spectrum, right? But then if there's a spectrum, doesn't that mean, let's say, the video's mirrored, the camera's mirrored, so I want to say left to right. So let's say here is this cluster of our perceptual reality that's distorted, and then you go all the way here, there's the perception of schizophrenic people who see reality, which is supposed to be more distorted. So this is like a spectrum of distorted reality. But then that suggests that, these 2 points aren't the end of a spectrum. There's more on this side, but there's more on this side too, implying possibly a more objective reality, possibly, if something could be clinical to the point that it destroys you. I feel that it seems like there is an opposite of that. Or you're straying away more from objective reality. Therefore, it's destroying you, implying that there is an objective reality. Possibly. And I don't know, that's just something I was thinking. Or if you're straying away from the collective perception of reality, like the average or median understanding of reality, and schizophrenia is straying away from that, that also seems weird, because that collection of perception of reality isn't objective either. And it's weird that straying away from that is clinically dangerous. My words are not coming up, but it just seems weird because that landmark of perception of reality is not grounded, but yet there's some level of objectivity that could define this distortion of reality. It just, I don't know, it just muddles my thoughts a bit. I mean, I guess there's no, I don't think we can ever reach objective reality. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm making it very clear. If I want to try to articulate this thought, which is not even a sort of conclusion or anything, just a thought, is that first of all, my idea is based on the idea, or the topic or the concept is how reality is not objective. It's based on subjectivity, always. But then, if there's a thing called schizophrenia that is a sort of straying away from objective reality to the point that it can biologically manifest and can cause harm, provides a sort of objective level. I'm not saying it's completely objective, but it provides a more objective level of reality, because it's implying that it's straying away from something that is objective, and therefore it kind of subdues, is that the right word? Subverts my concept of non-objective reality, because there must be a point at which there is clear objectivity. There's a point where you can go further away, to the point that it's bad, you know. So that, I mean, seeing it clinical in of itself is technically a subjective, perception of schizophrenia. Like, the label labeling it subjective. Clinically diagnosing it is technically subjective, right? But something the brain happens that creates this phenomenon where it could be labeled as that. So to an extent, it's it seems well, it implies objective reality. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is really hard for me to articulate, so I'm just trying to repeat it. Hopefully, if I ever look back, I can still understand what I was thinking. But then I don't know. I guess that's my point. I still think, I mean, maybe there is a realm of absolute objectivity, but I know we can't approach it, because even math is riddled with subjectivity because it's using specific signs, right? The signs that represent math adds a layer of subjectivity. Like perceiving the world in like addition, subtraction, or perceiving the world in math, like being able to categorize between addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Looking at the field like that is sort of subjective. Even having a field that's called math is a layer of subjectivity. So even something that seems absolutely logical, like math, is still riddled with subjectivity. So it's just that for us to understand and communicate or do whatever, there's always going to be a layer of subjectivity. I believe. I strongly believe. But yeah, it like the idea of schizophrenia throws like a stone in that flowing stream. Well, no, maybe that's not a good metaphor, because the stream continues to flow. Oh, the whole point is the stream is continuing to flow, but it creates a little ripple. Makes me think or doubt this concept a little. Or, I mean, it doesn't necessarily deny what I believe, but imposes the idea that there is an objective reality out there. But then what I really believe is that there isn't even an objective reality, because I kind of want to say the whole concept of objectivity is founded on subjectivity as well. In an absolute objective world, I don't think anything could really exist. It just seems like the moment something exists, it's bound to be categorized, right? It's this curse of categorization. And in that moment, has a subjective layer, I think. Something has to just not exist or not ever be perceived or understood or conceptualized to be absolutely objective. Most likely. I don't know. But I'm talking about this, like, the thing is, like, we can never reach that 100% objectivity, but our world has to rely on certain level of reaching that objectivity and calling that objective enough, or else science doesn't work, math doesn't work, law doesn't work. Nothing works. Maybe art can still work to an extent. But yeah, that's just what I thought. And then the other thing about schizophrenia, I thought, is more to do with mental health in general, where a few years ago, in hindsight, I think I was in a really, really bad place. And maybe to an extent I was aware of it, but then the thing is, it's hard to introspect your own mental health, because at least at that stage I was very self-aware. I was very conscious. I seemed to be acting like, I seemed to think and sort of perceive the world as if I have full control over my body and mind. But then there's clearly moments where I look back and like, I'm not really sure about that. But in that moment, it seems like I have full control. So I'm wondering how it is like to be schizophrenic. I think it's very hard to realize you are, because my guess is that it will still be like that, where you can perceive the world, you have awareness and consciousness that probably has a level of self-reflection or self-awareness that gives you the idea that you have, a lot of control. I mean, the thing is, like, no one really has real control, complete control, and could go on the layers of not just the biology, philosophy, or economic. There's a lot of control that we don't have. But with that foundation, still trying to look at control, it would seem that you have, control with you compared to average day to day. But maybe, you don't realize. And then that makes me think, how about my current situation? Because as much as I've become even, I would say, more introspective and conscious and aware. I've become a lot more aware compared to before. I could be mentally unhealthy, considering I never really checked with a doctor. And I mean, to be honest, I haven't been like really happy for a very, very long time. So and I know I never could really be, I will never ever be 100% happy ever in my life. And that's not because of some biological thing I can't control. At least what I'm aware of. It's just some things I know that will make sure that I could never be happy. But I wonder if that does have implications on the more biological side of my brain, where I do have, less awareness or control over, that also affects my health or whatever. Or the whole idea that I haven't been really happy, like that kind of implies there's probably something wrong. But at the same time, the day-to-day is a lot of times I just feel that I am in control, or at least I feel. Like I tried, I try to look from a third person's perspective, and I do realize a lot of things are like out of my control. Um, I was watching like this interview with Dr. K, and he was talking about I forgot his past, where like he was he was like out of control or something, like not even his past, like just talking about some sort of about meditation, I think, because the whole, according to him at least, meditation is all about being able to control your attention or mind. um, and the reality is I don't have that. I struggle a lot with self-discipline and control. um, I want to blame it on my phone, and I know my phone is an antagonist in this, my story of trying to have control over myself. Um, but I don't know, maybe it was always been the case. And then the thing is, I have very clear patterns of how positive and negative I am, and how much control I have, and how my room looks, or how I present myself, or how I talk, kind of. There seems to be a sort of, you know, cyclical pattern. Um, so yeah, I maybe I should get, properly checked. But the scary thing is I still fully feel in control, at least. But I mean, I will eventually go check. I tried to do this thing. I mean, I just started last year. What was it last year? I think it was last year. Jesus, I can't remember if it was 2 years ago or last year, but I did a general health check. It seems like 2 years ago, but it might be last year. I did like a general health check. I want to do that annually, but this time I wanna also do like a mental health check, if that's possible, like an yearly, just to see whatever. And honestly, I should really try to work on meditation, but my biggest like curse, like I'm blaming it on something out of my control, is laziness. Yeah. The truth is, with stuff like laziness and lacking self-discipline, is that um, on one hand, it's the fact that I haven't been able to fix, and there's a clear kind of cycle, implies that there is a power that's stronger than me that I can't fight against. But then there's a part of me that's like, but that is still my discipline, that is still my laziness. That I know at certain points I've been able to control better, and I think deep down I could control it, or at least it's my things. So I think I can control it. Or there's also the idea that what would you call it? What was the word? Oh, inferiority complex, almost, maybe. Like, labeling that myself makes me feel like I don't deserve it. And that's probably because maybe I don't, or maybe I do. It's this like Schrodinger's cat, um, of basically, do I deserve to feel like I need help, you know? Because technically, it's all my problem, right? It's all something that should be in my control. And then, but then at the same time, why haven't I been able to fix it? So it's like this weird. But then calling it, you know, it's a weird thing. And then saying it's an inferiority complex is just like, I don't know if I deserve to be able to label myself that. Although I had moments like that where I felt I don't deserve certain stuff a lot of times. But then it's not necessarily a complex, you know. It could just be that sometimes I just feel that way. It's a weird, difficult realm that I eventually need to try to work on more, but it's a very hard, challenging objective that I don't know. I tried to get help. I tried free coaching. It didn't really work out. Maybe it did help me a little. Um, it didn't really help. I tried counseling, but it didn't really help because it could be inferiority complex, or I just don't feel comfortable, but I can't be fully honest with those people. And I was kind of honest with the counselor once, but I felt like an idiot after being honest a little. I felt embarrassed. I didn't want to, you know, and it's not like the counselor did anything bad. It's just I felt wrong being upset with certain stuff. And it's like, you could see it as an inferiority complex, or also the thing is that I think I am spoiled, and that is also the reality. So it's just that I am spoiled and I am narcissistic. It's not wrong. And then that can sort of exacerbate my perception of negative things and make me upset when, you know, and make me, and I'm not saying like spoiled in like my parents spoiled me in that sense, but in the sense that I think compared to a lot of people, I do have a pretty comfortable life. And my problems should be, what do you call it? My problems should be resolvable, but all I do is complain. So in that sense, and I think sometimes it seems a bit trivial. So in that sense, it's like come on. That's also why I don't want to be open about it too much on here as well, even though it's really for myself. But then the fact that it's online means, you know, there is a chance people would see it. So yeah, it's a weird place. For a while, I just chalked it up to I am spoiled. Um, I am narcissistic. But then I do try to take in the opposing element. I think maybe it is a bit of both. Maybe this is a very spoiled statement, but because I'm spoiled and narcissistic, certain problems are harder to work on. Is that? Mm, even though I'm fully aware of it, it's like certain problems seems harder. Um, but yeah, uh, I feel like I spoiled myself a lot because um, I've been able to get away with a lot of things. If I'm being pretty frank, I don't think my parents will ever. Uh, I would just say that since middle school, I've been able to. I mean, I guess everybody does this, but since middle school, I've been able to, leave my house and stay out at night and go to bars or, you know, not anything like drastically illegal, obviously. Not like anything crazy. It's usually like just going out drinking karaoke. Um, or not even drinking, but just going out at night. Sometimes I remember there's this park near my high school, middle school, and I'll just like stay there like for the night, like just hanging out with my friends, or I would like sleep over without my parents ever knowing. Because I had this like golden lie I could tell and it could never be questioned. Um, yeah. So I was able to do quite a bit of what I wanted to do because of that. And then the other thing is, when it comes to, I would say, assignments, um, I've been, I have almost never gotten the consequence of being lazy because I'm always able to finish it, or I'm always able to uh, either finish it on time or somehow still get the assignment graded. As I think middle school, high school, there were like two or three times I faced actual consequences, and maybe I felt bad, but every other times, I would be lazy and I'll still somehow push through and finish at the end, and then sometimes get decent grades. So I never had to really learn to fix my laziness. Um, and then now I realize maybe I am kind of struggling because of that. Um, I have realized that since university, I am a bit more productive, a bit less lazy. Um, I mean, even my thesis, like, it's not necessarily that I was completely lazy. Um, I did a lot of work, right? I said like the magnum opus stuff, which didn't last that long. But basically, it was too much work that I was expecting myself, not to mention it was gonna go way over word count. So I had to kind of restart. And then still I'm thinking like, oh my god, there's so much to do. So I'm kind of procrastinating. And yeah, I'm kind of being lazy again. Well, I've been productive. You know, I don't do everything last minute. I I I mean like last quad. Um, I had just two presentation assignments. Those I was able to work pretty well. I would say I didn't really leave anything till last minute. Um, so that was fine. And then the other thing was, I guess studying for exams. That I kind of left it till last minute. Um, like one of the exams was like one day before, and the other exam I studied. I could have studied for like a whole week. I studied 2 days, sort of. So that could have been better, I think. Or all I did was read over my notes twice, basically. Um, and I know I probably passed anyways. So, um, the point is like I can get away with my laziness a lot. And I'm not like tricking, lying, but I guess there's certain times I lied, or there was this one golden lie I was able to keep using, that where I was able to, what's the word? I was able to get away with a lot of stuff as well. So I really spoiled myself. And then, I don't know, I always felt kind of spoiled or something, uh, or narcissistic or whatever. So I try to compensate that with like working and stuff. That's not the only reason why I work, but I don't know, it never really helped. And then I feel because I had money from work, I was able to do different stuff as well. That you know, I guess. I mean, it's not like I was like rich, and I mean, I wasn't really struggling with money in middle school, high school. Yeah, I had like honestly, middle school, high school, I was doing good with money. I mean, cause to be fair, I shouldn't be, at least in my like my parents' income bracket, I shouldn't be struggling with money as a kid. But also on top of that, I was already working from like 14. So I almost never asked money from my parents, I think. At least like when I'm hanging out. Um, Also, I didn't really buy anything. One of my big purchases was PlayStation. That was a big one. Um, and that felt illegal, because I never really spent money that much at once. Um, Although, like, when I was going out drinking or partying or something, I feel like there were moments where I spent a lot of money in one night. Um, yeah. And then something that came up while I'm. Oh, actually, this fucking shirt, this main shirt, which is absolutely it's actually a nice shirt, but it's no like brand, or it's nothing like special. It was second hand, but because I'm bad with a confrontation, I think I'm getting better because I'm like trying to work on it. But back then I was really really bad with confrontation. I couldn't say no. I ended up paying like 3,500 on this yen, on this $35. There's $30 on this shirt. It's truly embarrassing. Spend money like that. Yeah. So, in conclusion, what's the point? Um, don't really have a point. Something about schizophrenia. I don't know. It just made me think about my concept of perception of reality and subjectivity, and about mental health and feeling like you're in control, but it makes me wonder, like, what is it like being schizophrenic when you're still probably feeling like you're yourself, but from a third person perspective, it's like, oh my god, this guy's crazy. It'll be truly ironic if I am actually schizophrenic right now, and this video is like absolute proof. But I think me being able to say that to a certain extent is very unschizophrenic of me, I hope. I mean, I don't think anyone's out to get me, or I don't feel gangsta. I know that's not like decent, and I think the thing is, I just have a very drastic view of reality compared to a lot of people, I assume. Because when I talk to people, or when they talk about stuff, there's that foundational perception of reality that is unspoken, that you base all your, talking points on. And then when I, hear them talk about it, or read or see them talk about it, I'm like, nah, that's completely wrong. Which could be, just a critique on religious comments, or certain comments about, like, spirituality and all that. I just think, no. Even the Dr. K thing, when he talked about reincarnation, and he said he felt that, I really think it's not true. I bet he felt that, but I don't think it's reincarnation. It's just something in the neurons, creating something, a mirage. Maybe something akin to schizophrenia, but like very transient. Yeah, that's my thoughts. That's it. I don't know. In the whole, and then just my comment on reincarnation. It only makes sense if you can keep your past memories. I guess the whole point of some, category of meditation is to unlock that. But then, in general, it just doesn't really make sense, even if it's true. Because if you don't have your past memories, you're a completely different being. It doesn't matter if it's the same soul. You're a different person, so why does that matter, Yeah, and you're surrounded by completely different people, right? So, like, reincarnation or not, it's inconsequential. And there's like no point, at least from a general perspective. I guess maybe in Buddhism or Hinduism. Is Hinduism reincarnation? I think maybe Buddhism or other spiritual whatnot. Maybe there's implication on their belief in religion, but I don't know. It just seems like a pointless point. It's just another ploy to, manage our terror of death. And that's it. I think, yeah, conclude. Another 50 minutes. It's always 50 minutes. 1 hour.